My next guest is returning back to Canada, going to be fighting in Edmonton November 2nd. He's got a good opponent here. He's going to be taking on Pedro Munhoz. It is Aiemann Zahabi back here on the program. Aiemann, how you doing, man?
Very good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. Always happy to talk to you. And just tell me, how excited are you not only to be fighting in Edmonton, but also fighting this pretty notable guy in Pedro Munhoz?
I feel like it's great. There's finally some like I'm climbing up the ladder. Fighting one every time I fight now, it's a better name. And I was finally a guy who's been in the top 15 for a long time. So I kind of feel like it cements my place in the UFC. And I'm not just looking to participate. I really want to go out there and beat him and get pushed into the top 15. I'm hoping Dana's new system includes me.
Yes. No, for sure. I saw that. Maybe going to AI rankings or something different. The rankings definitely need an overhaul, I can say this season, even as someone who's on the side of the media, although I don't participate in the rankings. One thing I wanted to ask you, there were some rumblings about you fighting Marcus McGee. What happened there? Because obviously he's now fighting Jonathan Martinez. Were those just rumors? Like, did you hear anything about that?
No comment.
No comment? Okay, fair enough. Yeah, because I just know that was a fight that was sort of talked about, but you ended up getting a better opponent here in Pedro and getting to fight in Canada too, right? So it kind of worked out for the better.
Yeah, for sure. And he got a nice opponent too, it seems.
Yeah, so it all worked out. Yeah,
it all worked out.
I got to do my job. Got to ask these questions.
Yeah, of course.
Let's talk about Pedro. 29 fight veteran. He's been in there with some of the best. You look at the names that he's fought in the weight class, and he's been a mainstay in the UFC for a while. Stylistically, how are you looking at this fight?
It's a great fight, I think. It's the first time I'm fighting a short guy in a while. Somebody shorter than me is what I mean. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. I think I'm going to have a few inches of reach on him. So I'm hoping to expose that. And, he shoots almost every fight. He shoots, doesn't always score the takedowns and whatever. He's got a good guillotine. But I think I'm going to be the better wrestler in this one. And I think I'm going to have the better striking. But I would love to get on top of him too. So, I'm waiting for this fight to go everywhere. He's a very durable guy. He goes the distance a lot of the times. It's going to be hard to finish. But I expect this to be an MMA fight. I expect him to try to take me down. I expect to maybe end up on top of him and beat him in the striking as well.
Yeah, you sort of got to my next question. Like, Munhoz, tough to finish, and he's always seems to be in close fights. Like, even if you look at some of his losses, like Chito Vera as an example, that was pretty close, right? Is that something you keep in mind with the game plan, where it's like, okay, maybe, like, I know obviously you want to go in there and finish, but you're also fighting a guy who seems to be like the Terminator too.
Yeah, exactly. And it was interesting. Like, the fight was super close, but at the end of the in the third round, Chito really pulled away with it when he rocked him 2 times with a jab. And it's interesting because he's taken a lot of damage in the last 2 fights where it's like apparent that he's gotten hurt. And I don't know if the mileage is catching up on him or not. But yeah, it's gonna be a hard fought, long fight for sure. That's what I have in my head because number one, he's got great experience. Number two, he's very well rounded. He's hard to submit, hard to KO. He's got great conditioning. He's extremely durable, takes shots well. So, the game plan is going to be to outdo him and to create enough of a lead that there is no doubt. And I'm hoping that he has to go out there and take more risks to catch up and then hopefully make him pay when he tries to close the gap.
Anything different for this camp? Who are you mainly working with? Who have been some of the main guys helping you prep for this big fight in Edmonton?
Well, some of the oldies, I brought in Jonathan DeBella again.
Oh, cool. Okay, nice.
Yeah, I got to bring in Ryan Hall again also. A couple of new guys, TJ Laramie and Tony Laramie came to help out.
I saw that. That's awesome. Iron sharpen iron, right?
Yeah, amazing. It's great to have them. Really good guys. I'm really wishing Tommy the best of success in Ryzen 2, and TJ also, I wish him success. I also had Xavier Aloui come spar me a lot because he's also like similar height and similar style to Pedro. So it was good to have him too. I had a lot of guys step up. I'm very lucky with my teammates. I even trained a lot with Mehdi Zedvan, who's like who's fighting in the Canadian League right now. He's actually fighting with a BFL belt. He's fighting for the BFL belt. And he's like the perfect height. He's a little bit heavier, but he's the right height, and he's more heavy wrestling. So I was having him try to take me down a lot. He's a really good Greco-Roman background. So yeah, I got to leverage my teammates, and we had 2 new teammates join TriStar. So we had Calvin Cater and Rob Font for like the last few months coming in and out of the gym.
Oh, no way.
Mostly Rob Font's like basically here like on the team, and Calvin was coming to help him out. So I got to spar with Calvin Cater. I got to spar with Rob Font a lot. So like again, iron sharpens iron. I was training with like the number 9 bantamweight in the world. So that was really good to have throughout this camp.
Yeah, and Rob fought Pedro too, right? Way back when. Obviously, they're different fighters, but at least he's familiar with him, right?
Of course.
Yeah. So it's
But you know, like some things, like the physical attributes, he was able to speak on. Like, and
Mhm.
obviously Pedro's a different fighter now, 5 years later. But in terms of like how strong can you gauge him to be, how fast is he, you know? So he was able to give me those kind of things. But like you said, you're right. 5 years ago was a long time, so obviously Pedro's a different fighter now. But I think his speed can't really change all that much, and how much power he has probably remains the same.
So I'm glad I asked this question because there's a lot to unpack there. First, I wanted to get to you mentioned Rob Font's part of the team. So is he just doing his
Yeah.
camps there now? Like, I can't imagine he's moved to Montreal. He's a Massachusetts guy, right?
Yeah, no, he didn't move here. Like, he didn't buy
Yeah.
a house here.
Yeah.
But after my Javid Bashrat fight,
Yeah.
he started coming up for training. And then when he was already here, he had rented a place to stay with his wife and his daughter. And so he did his whole camp here basically. I think he
Wow.
left every now and again when he had like some things to go do back at home.
Yeah.
But the vast majority of his camp was with us. So you're gonna see Frost in this corner on Saturday,
Oh, I
which is
had
gonna
no
be
idea about
great.
any of this because
Yeah.
Rob didn't do any interviews, so I didn't know that he was up there. So that's really, how did that even get set up with him coming to train with you guys? Did he like know for us, or how did that work out?
Actually a very good question.
Oh, you don't know? He just showed up. You're like, hey, that's Rob
uh,
Font here, fellow
no,
bantamweight.
so like he told me a little bit of the story, but I don't know the entirety of the story. But he
Yeah.
had told me that actually the first time Frost told him to come by train with us was when the night that Ryan Hall fought Gray Maynard.
Okay.
Rob Font was fighting on the card as well, and then like after the fights when they're backstage, Frost crossed paths with Rob and told him, "Hey, if ever you want, I know you're not far away. If you want to come train with us, swing by, whatever." And Rob hadn't come. This is like years ago, obviously.
Mhm.
And then I guess the other like earlier this year, he reached out to Frost, I think, to come train, and Frost told me, yeah, of course. And then he came out after my fight, which was great.
Okay. That's really cool.
So
I
I
know.
don't know the details of the last few months, but you
Yeah.
can ask him that.
Yeah, no, I will. Well, hopefully he'll, we'll see. He's fighting this weekend, by the way, fighting Kyler Phillips, another guy who's fought Pedro Munhoz as well. So
Yeah.
again,
I would
this,
like to say though,
yeah,
Rob and Calvin, great guys, actually very stand-up teammates.
yeah, almost Canadian to some degree with how nice
I'm
they are.
telling you, almost Canadian. It's so
Yeah,
crazy. They're like very consistent in their training, very hardworking, extremely respectful, very good attitude. Like they like, I don't know how to explain the attitude part, but like they come in with positive energy. They take the advice well. They give advice. They help the young guys. Like like Calvin Cater is a star, obviously, and so is
Mhm.
Rob Font. They're both stars. They're both in the top 15 for a while. And when guys ask them questions, they share their knowledge. They're not like standoffish or anything. And it's nice to see. It's nice to see guys that are so nice.
Okay, so my second part to this question, because you mentioned the Laramie brothers, I know very well. I think I've
Yeah.
seen both of them fight live, TJ and actually maybe not TJ. I've seen Tony fight live when he fought for TKO. How did that get set up? Because obviously, like they're in Ontario, but was it just like they reached out, or do you know how that came together? I know you're probably not the guy. Probably should be asking your brother about this, but I was just curious, like how
Yeah.
they ended up training with you guys.
You gotta ask for us.
For us, okay, I'll ask him
But
next
I,
time.
I
But
think
yeah,
I think they came up because TJ, excuse me, not TJ, my fault. Tony signed with Ryzen,
right, yeah, has
and
that fight in
I
November?
think he's fighting, yeah, November 17th or November 16th,
Yeah,
and I think he just wanted to come in like get some good training in with some other partners, like probably change the variety of partners he has.
yeah,
So he came by to not try out, but I mean like to try TriStar, like to see how it would go.
yeah.
And I think they had a good time. I think they liked it. I'm hoping that they come back. I think those guys are great guys too, good Canadian boys, just like Rob and Calvin, very very consistent, good attitudes. Like they give everything they have. Very hardworking boys and amazing wrestlers, man. Really really good wrestlers. Like I've always seen it, but it was nice to roll with them and to experience it. But yeah, they're really good fighters.
Yeah, and I honestly, I'll say this on camera here. I think the UFC made a huge mistake not signing Tony. Like he's so good, and he was so young when he started, his career, and I don't know what happened there, but hey, Risen's gain for sure because that's going to be a fun tournament they got coming up here. So yeah, let's get back to you though, because obviously you're fighting Pedro Munhoz.
Yeah.
Your corner. So you mentioned obviously for us, we'll be there. Who else is going to be in the cage with you?
Yeah, I'm gonna have Neil Shepard like as usual, and I'm
Mhm.
also putting Xavier Aloui.
Oh,
He's been
nice.
helping me a lot, like I said, in this camp for sparring. So I'm gonna bring him with me as my third. He's been there, like coming to as many sparring practices as he can. He had one injury during the camp, but he was able to get back on his feet, and he's gonna be there again this Friday. So that's good. And he's shown me like how much of a good teammate he's been throughout the year. So I want to put him in my corner and keep him with me.
How's this fight playing out on November 2nd? How do you see it going down?
We're winning, man. We're winning.
Yeah. Well, I'd hope
It's
so.
my time.
Otherwise, why sign the contract?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, like, listen, we all go in there to win, right? I'm sure Pedro's gonna say he's going to win. Why would he come to lose?
For sure.
But I really feel like it's my time. You know, I won four straight. I want to keep the momentum going. It's like I'm fighting now within a year, which is exciting for me. It's really, really great, and I'm hoping to fight again within like 4 or 5 months after this one. So like, I just want to keep the ball rolling on my career. But honestly, like, it's all about performance. So I've been working really hard at to just perform that night, and obviously I want to come out there with my hand raised and really build my name off Pedro.
You had a big win in your last fight, and now you're fighting a guy who I just checked. I realized Munhoz isn't ranked, but he had been ranked for a while. Like, this has got to propel you. Well, first off, it's got to propel you in the rankings if you get a win. But second, I mean, this has really got to skyrocket you, because usually fighters that beat Pedro Munhoz, they're usually going on to bigger and better things when it comes to the division, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I'm really excited about this name and this opponent, and especially that it's happening in Canada. I also want to get propelled in Canada. I feel like not too many Canadians know me. They all know my brother for sure, but I want to build my reputation here as well.
Well, and you're doing a good job with that with Unified. I got to give you credit. You're doing a great job with the
Yeah,
commentary. Is
thank
that
you.
something that's fairly manageable with your schedule and everything? And it must be good too, because you get to see sort of the new crop coming into the UFC.
Yeah, it's great. I really liked it, and it helped me it helped me get some experience, and I got to do that gig with Sportsnet as well. And I'm trying to build my YouTube channel so like I can like eventually move into that aspect of my career later on when I retire. And I just feel like it's a good transition for me to be able to stay in this MMA world. I don't want to like when I finish my MMA career in terms of fighting, I don't want to just like disappear from the scene. I love the scene so much; it's given me so much, and I want to give back. And that's just like a new way for me to give back.
I would agree. Did you talk with Faraz about doing commentary? Because I don't think people remember back in the day he did commentary for Titan FC.
Yeah. I spoke to him. He thought it was a great idea. He said, "Why not give it a shot? See if they like you and stuff like that." Of course, my brother is a huge supporter of mine for sure, and I'm sure he would do more if he had the time. But he has so many fighters to get ready, so that's gonna be my job.
Yeah, take over for him. And just last question. No, we had this was like years ago. We talked about this, but are you playing any retro video games these days? I know we talked about Contra years ago. You getting into any of that, or are you too busy being a dad and a fighter?
I haven't, man, but my brother-in-law got me a PlayStation 5 recently, actually. So I'm hoping to start like a video game channel
Oh, like
for my YouTube, like
oh,
a
nice.
video
Yeah. Like
yeah,
stream and stuff. Yeah.
stream and all that. So I'm gonna try to get into whatever games are like popular now for like streaming.
Mhm.
But I'm gonna start that after this fight. So I'm gonna have some downtime to like get that whole thing set up because that's gonna be like a whole other world outside of just like like doing like live watch parties or fight analysis, which is like for me much easier.
Mhm.
But to be like a video game streamer, I have no idea how it's gonna go. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna do that right after this fight.
Yeah, get out of your comfort zone a bit. Might want to hit up Demetrius Johnson. He knows a thing or two about that, and it's sort of
Yes,
translated well into.
actually, my friends are telling me like I should basically study his videos to kind of have a grasp of like what I should do, like what can work for me.
Yeah, there you go. Get Faraz involved. You can get a game plan going for the streaming, right? So I'm sure he'd make some good notes or
Yeah,
whatever, right? So
yeah,
there you go.
100%.
Aiemann, thanks so much for doing this. We're looking forward to it. UFC Edmonton, November 2nd. If there's anyone you want to thank before we get out of here, any sponsors, any social media you want to mention, I'll give you the last
I
word.
just want to give a shout out to Jordan Deichler for helping me out and sponsoring me for this fight. And I also want to say, if any of you guys want to learn from Faraz, you can always go on jujiclub.com and get his DVDs.